process of picking somebody. And, I discussed like, what is your range? And this is one of the older posts. And she's like, I'm looking at like 11:30. Well, when I ran the comps on the numbers and did out the math, it's between 10:30 and 10:80 an hour. And that's not 11:30 an hour. So like, okay.
11:30 is going to be above 90%. It's going to fall in that 92, 93 window.
See, I'm not even there yet, so I might just be totally confused with this conference call.
Yeah. Um, I think we should just wait for April to further discuss the compensation until we get further direction and clarification.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
like we need to get the basics because everybody, and I
yeah,
understand they're ahead and that's great, but it's like people are asking all these questions that are like so far in advance, and I'm sitting here going, okay, I just want to know how to disposition people. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Simple like that. And it's getting me confused because I get on the calls and they're all like, what is this cat? What is this MC? What is this? And I'm like, okay, guess it's not for me.
So let's do this. Let's just go over how to send a form really quick, and that's what this call will be over. Um, and then you'll be able to refer back to it just if you know how to send forms. Let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see it.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is not one of the best examples for a requisition, but it's probably all I have right now. So I have one candidate who's sitting in manager review. And for candidates who have been sent to select for hire, if they have not completed their application, for example, and you need to rescind the application because they just have not completed it for whatever reason, maybe they haven't received it, maybe it's going to their spam, their junk folder, maybe their email address is not, maybe they can't log into their email that they set up with us in their submission. But what you do is, let me go back, you go to the candidate, you open up your requisition. You need to be in the rec. You cannot be in the other screen under all recs because the forms cannot be sent from that screen. You go into your requisition, you pull up the actual rec, you open the file with the list of all of your candidates under that one rec. You select the candidate that you need to send the form on. The forms that you want to send to a specific candidate is within the action button under Send Candidate Communication. And when you click the communication, there's a communication template within the pull down. The only thing that we are generally sending from this screen is going to be either the FCRA request that the candidate is required to complete or the formal Sprint application. You can select one of two of those forms. The other forms are not applicable to the retail process. So whichever form you select, if you hit go, you're going to see a message that looks like this. And it's going to say it comes from your Sprint email. This is my old Sprint email address. It is going to have the subject line of what is being sent. And in the body of that message, it is going to contain the hyperlink of what that candidate needs to complete. And in order to send it, you would hit send.
So Tish,
If
we
you
don't
would
do
like,
anything with the second drop down on the first screen there?
let me go back.
Does that we just keep it where it was at?
This one.
Um,
This one right here,
yeah,
the letter
we don't
template?
touch that
No.
one. Okay.
No, because you're either sending one or the other.
Okay.
So those particular templates for retail are contained in the first communication template. So, and it's the same process. So when you hit select and go, this comes up. If it's already been sent, this is the message that you're going to see, that it cannot be sent because the candidate has already attached it. If the candidate hadn't completed the form, this wouldn't be there. I'll go back to the other, and it'll gray it out. So you couldn't send it if it's a duplicate send. So I'll go back to application because obviously they have not been moved to select for hire. If you hit send, this form will email to this candidate to their email address that they provided to us. If you need a copy, or you want not necessarily a copy of what was sent, but if you needed to be notified of when the candidate has completed this form, if you check this button, notify, and then hit send, when the candidate has completed that form, Brass Ring will notify you via email, and you know that the candidate has completed it, and you can move on with whatever you need to move forward with. That's usually the drug and background process.
What about the assessment, Tish? Do we send that anytime they don't
The
have it in
assessments
there?
are automatically sent
Okay,
from
that's
Brass
right.
Ring. Yeah, they're automatically sent. That's not something that we generally would send unless it's a case-by-case situation. And in that instance, it can still be sent through the actions under the candidate's file under Run Assessment.
Okay.
But those are one-off scenarios. It's not something we should just be
Sure.
sending on a whim. Yeah, on a whim. So,
And internals, they don't need an assessment or a background check or a drug check, right?
correct. Under our old process, no. I am not for certain if on the new process that is going to change for internals just with regard to the assessment. I am not 100% sure about that. But in the past, any candidate that is currently a Sprint employee that applies to an internal position with Sprint only has to upload their resume and complete their submission for that particular job. There is not an assessment because they've been with the company, and there's not a background application or drug screen process for them. Their only criteria is to make sure they have uploaded their resume, they meet the basic qualifications of that position, and they are not on any corrective action.
I have an internal where it's asking me for the interview assessment. It won't let me move the person forward, even though he is internal.
Do you have the rec number, and we can use that as an example so they can see what you're referring to?
Get that for you. It is. His name is Kevin Jacobs, and it's 227605 BR. Well, I guess BR for everything. And the thing is, he started the process on one requisition. That person did an assessment, and then it looks like they moved him to another rack. And so it won't let me move him forward. And also, but when I asked, the DM said that they did a panel interview. So that hiring manager handed him off to another hiring manager, which provided the new rec that I just gave you. I don't know. I mean, I was able to reject him off of, I'm not sure if I reject him off the old one, but the new one now won't let me do anything.
So this is the rec that the hiring manager is wanting to move forward with?
Wait.
The retail supervisor?
227605, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the hiring manager has completed the interview rating sheet, and he has met all the requirements. There's the date of the interview.
Well, so you see, that's an old one. And see, he's
That
still,
is an old one.
yeah. And then that
So he
date,
needs to complete it. So he needs, yeah, the hiring manager is going to have to complete the interview rating sheet for this particular requisition.
okay, so go into the new one and see. I thought I saw one, but wasn't sure.
There's one for rec 2254447, but not for 227605. So in order for that hiring manager to complete that interview rating sheet for that rec,
I thought I wasn't sure. I thought I saw one for that old rec, and it looks like they decided we're going to go with the new hiring manager with a new requisition.
So you can send the hiring manager the interview rating sheet through this screen. This would not be under the candidate. This would be in forms because it's being sent to a hiring manager. And so what you would do, if this is in fact the rec that he wants to move forward with for this candidate, you would go into forms after you've pulled up the rec. And in your drop down menu, I don't have access to your rec, so that's why this is all grayed out for me.
Oh,
But under select form, there's a pull down menu, and you would select interview rating sheet, and then you would select e-link blank form. There is, let me do it in one of my recs because I don't have access to that. Well, you know what? Let me just do this. Let me just add myself to your rec.
Now, is there a way to move this applicant from the old rec to the new rec?
No, that is not an option that is supported in this brass ring version.
it looks like they just keep them all, right? No matter how many times they apply.
So the applicant has to reapply to the new rec?
It's not going to let me do it. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it.
Tish, why don't you just have her share her screen? You can walk her
Yeah,
through it.
and I'll walk you through it. Yeah, because it's not going to allow me to do it on your requisition. So I'll stop presenting, and if you could present to us, that'd be great.
Let me get myself back over to my other okay. I have to put it back over to my monitor because I'm confusing myself now when I'm trying to present to you guys over here. Okay. Now. Is it doing anything?
Not seeing anything yet.
Do you see my rec?
Nothing yet.
Are you clicking on the screen? The monitor?
I might be a little bit too. I got a black screen. Feel free to start presenting. So
Okay.
And nothing. Let's see.
That's Tish's screen. Probably.
Did you hit present yet?
Let me exit full screen. It's a little bit too it was a little bit too full for me to even see where I was. So okay. Go back to my other monitor. Can you see now?
Loading.
Okay, good.
There it is.
Perfect.
The Oh, I have to stop extending because it's going no. Let me take it off. Extending to the. What it's doing is it's putting it on my other monitor, and so I don't think you guys probably just see my the requisition that I have.
You could say present from all screens or just one screen.
So you're seeing. Let me just take it off because it's right now is confusing me. So. Okay, now, wait. Get back.
Tish.
Sorry. April was eyeing.
Hi, Tish. Can you hear me?
I can now, yeah.
Let me ask a quick question. What's going on when you put a rec number in that search field and it doesn't come up, but it is on that on your rec list?
Do you have candidates selected or Rex selected?
It says Rex.
So it says Rex, and there's no spaces before the number, right? Nope.
Okay.
That's an IT issue.
Okay, no problem. I can handle
Now
that.
you guys can see. Can you see now? Because I'm
Yes.
okay. Once I had two monitors, I just kind of lost control of what I was doing. Okay, so this is the requisition. You're saying don't go to his folder or just look in the requisition?
Go into the requisition.
Well, what I wanted to show you was what happens with his.
Okay.
Kevin Jacobs. He's internal. So if you're looking at all his history, I thought I saw this rating sheet right here.
That is for the old rec. If you looked over to the far right, it's under 225447.
Yeah, and that was the question, and I sent it over to the DM, and what they said was it ended up being a panel interview. So it started out here, and it ended up at the other requisition. And I sent the mail to April, and she said that's fine, but I'm like, I wasn't sure what that meant, because if you see here, I mean, how do I disposition him? If I start here and I say this, and it was yesterday. I mean, we do this, right, based on the date it actually happened.
Sorry, multitasking. April's asking me questions. She's at a meeting. Okay, so with yours.
Okay.
Okay, no. Okay, so close out of this because this is right here is changing the status. So close that.
Mm-hmm.
You exit this screen and go back into your rec.
Seeing go a little bit too high up when I can't see the.
Okay, so
Okay.
go back out of your rec, like close that screen because you're.
I'm a little bit too.
Yeah, exit that. Okay, so pull down your rec folder, click on the briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
And then click on forms.
Okay.
And then pull from your drop down where it has select form, pull that drop down menu down. And then you're going to select interview rating sheet. And you're going to click link blank form. And then where it has 2, you're going to click on your list over to the right. You're going to type in the hiring manager's last name, comma, space first initial, and then hit search.
He might be something else. Oh, never mind. I'm dyslexic. Just now, I don't know where I got all this Scott. And then something like, please complete.
Interview rating sheet.
I guess I should mention.
Okay, sorry. I would click notify when these forms have been submitted. So go ahead and click that box. And that will tell you when the form has come back. And then if you roll that screen down just a little bit, there should be a send at the bottom. If you would like to enter a message, you can. Just telling the hiring manager, please complete the rating sheet prior to moving forward. And then you hit send.
This was helpful.
Thank you. So with the form section, this can only be sent internal. Well, with a few exceptions. I mean, there is a place where you can send them external, but there's not many forms externally that you would send from this screen. So this...
I'm sorry, can I go ahead and send?
Yeah, you can go ahead and send.
Okay. Be sure there wasn't anything else I need.
And then hit OK. And then it'll keep a record behind the scenes. So once he's done, it will load in this screen.
Okay. Then just close out of there.
And then you just close out. And once he uploads the interview rating sheet, then when the status is ready to be moved forward to extend verbal offer, well, can you click on his status really quick since he's an internal? I'm sorry. Are you no? Can you close that screen? I mean, you can do it that way. It seems to be the long way.
Well, once I'm always looking at once I see him within my requisition.
Within your rec, yeah.
I kind of like to see that he's in there and go to him from there. But Perfect. If I was in the requisition, I mean, I would do it the reverse.
Right. So here's what I wanted to show you guys. If you can close that screen for me really quick. Mm-hmm. And then just on under his HR status, if you can just click select for hire. Nope. Over to the right. Nope. Exit that one.
Oh.
Right there where it says select for. Yep. Just click that hyperlink for me. Thank you. So after this status, there's only 4 options. There's either candidate withdrew, company not interested, no longer considered, extend verbal offer. As recruiters, we can see all 4. But from a hiring manager standpoint, the only status that they're not able to see is no longer considered. They do not see that option. It is not built into their IDs to be able to see this. So their next step or our next step is extend verbal offer, update next, and it waits until all of the approvals have been completed. And once that's done, then it will go to offer accepted. Currently, there is something going on behind the scenes. I know April's in a meeting now. Processes it looks like they're getting ready to change. So, or there are going to be some updates to that within Brass Ring. So this may look different. It may not, but how our process will be going forward, like starting next week, may be a little bit different than what is happening today.
Tish, with the compensation grid that we're supposed to send over to the hiring manager, do we do that prior to checking that box, extend verbal offer, or after?
I send mine before.
Okay,
that's just the way I prefer to do it. It's a preference. I like that certainty, knowing that I've sent it out. I like to know that that approval has come back before I select that status to extend verbal offer.
Okay.
That's just how I did it in the old process. It's extend verbal offer is not going to send a confirmation to the candidate or to the hiring manager.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
It does not.
So you just do that by email and say, okay, go ahead and extend the verbal offer.
Right. I mean, it's a good tracking method to see how many people you have in that status, how many you're waiting for to receive approvals back, how many verbal offers you've actually extended out. So from that standpoint, it's a good, business way to keep track of that. But again, that's up, that to each his own.
Do you know anything about the written offer stage that the next group does? It sounds like they're not ready to do written offers yet.
I do on the old process, but that is changing. And I have not, or I was not actually trained on the new process. I mean, I understand it's a lot of the components are going to be the same, the language is going to be the same, but as far as their process of how they are going to actually do that and what goes to the candidate and the time framing, that may be a little different.
Okay. So I can get out of here. Okay.
So,
Tish, okay, just to clarify something really quick. You said when we change the HR status to extend offer, it doesn't send it to anyone. It's just for our records.
right.
Okay, so we need to let the manager know that they can go ahead and extend the verbal offer.
Right.
Got you.
And that it should only be sent to the candidate. Like, they should only extend that when they have proper approvals.
Yeah, I got the
yeah.
approval because they sent me the
Exactly.
email chain. So, okay, cool.
Because some of them will talk to candidates prior to that, and that's okay, as if they're using the standard rate or whatever, per that market, or that geo zone. But they shouldn't do that until they receive official word from their DM or ARD if needed.
Awesome. Okay, and then I have another question pertaining to something me and you talked about yesterday.
Okay.
One of the conditional offers that I sent out, the guy that wanted to go at 103%, remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So his DM called me, and I spoke to him yesterday and explained to him that they needed to fill out the business justification and that it needed to be forwarded up for approvals. So this morning, I got a message from the HM, and the DM says that he approves and he wants me to go ahead and move forward. It requires more than his approval. Is that correct?
Let's take that one offline.
Got you. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Is that all that we have on forms? How to send them?
I do have a question about the interview rating sheet. So I keep getting these coming into my mail, and yesterday I started getting a few that had the HM's name on it. So I asked April, are we still routing these, or is this considered a new one? She said that's a new one. But now this morning I'm getting them again without an HM name. So I'm wondering, am I routing the ones without an HM name to the All West, or am I treating it as a new one, or what's going on?
Sorry, let me think about that. So you're receiving the emails.
Yes,
And
I'm receiving them.
So as soon as someone selects interview complete in the HR status within Brass Ring for a candidate, that notification is automatically sent out to the recruiter and to the person who moved them to interview status. It just goes. So it's a notification to say, hey, FYI, if this form has not been completed for your records, it needs to be completed. They will continually go out. Every time that status is flipped, that Brass Ring is going to send that notification out. So you want to keep those for your records in case, like the situation that we just had where that candidate was sitting in select for hire, she can't move forward because that rating sheet is not uploaded. You can re-forward it to your hiring manager saying, FYI, you be sure to complete the interview rating sheet for this candidate because you've placed them in a status that requires that.
Right, and I am seeing that they are completing the sheets. I mean, they're definitely filling out. I pull them up, I look at them. I'm just unsure if I'm routing these to All West or if I'm, working on them myself or what's happening.
They're not for anyone to work per se. They're just there for notifications.
Okay, because before we were told to reroute them to All West.
Okay, then that might be a question for April because
I've sent one out, but I know she's
previously we were not doing that. We were just keeping them as a tracking method.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Tish, I have a question on the pending recs that I was talking to you about before on email. I have like 20 pending recs now, and I go round and round with the recs. But all it does at the bottom is it allows me to save them. So it sounds like there's something that a manager has to approve before I can go further with it. Is that right? Or I just feel like these 20 recs, I need to be doing something with them if they say pending.
Right. I'm in the same situation. I
Okay.
have pending recs sitting here where the approvals with the first level and they're completed, but the remaining approvals are not complete. So really the only thing you can do is route it. So when you pull it up and you select the box over to the left, click on reroute and it'll route to whoever needs to approve it. Hopefully Sprint has updated this since then, but what we were finding, if you route multiple recs over a course of a few days, if they go ahead and approve it, and let's say your rec is open and you're in the process of getting closing that rec, and let's say months down the road, someone just happens to go back in and click that rec to approve or something, it could reopen a rec.
I'd say.
It's a glitch. It doesn't happen often, but we have found that. I think they have fixed that since then, so you want to be mindful of the amount of times that you're routing those recs for approval. If they're just absolutely not getting approved in a timely manner, there probably needs to be a discussion with April and that team so that they can go to the powers that be to put a plan of action together of how quickly they need to get those approved and opened.
Okay.
And then I do have another question about the compensation. So we're not doing anything with it till Monday. What can we tell the HMs that we're, I don't want to make it sound like we're not up to date and doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So what would we actually say to them? I'm so sorry. I will have this information for you Monday, but I don't really want to say that, we're working things out or.
Right. I would just let them know you are in the process of working on the offer and that you would send them to them as soon as you can.
Awesome. And that's pretty much what I've been saying, working with compensation board. And, as soon as I have it, you will have it. So that's perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was fast. He completed the form already. I hope all my other managers are like that.
All right.
It'll take some time though, right? To get.
It will. It'll take some time to get a little bit more acclimated to the process, and especially with it possibly changing and a lot of things that are coming up. It'll take more time, and then you will get more comfortable with the process. So
in the meantime, we have 40 managers breathing down our throat asking, us to do things, and it's a little bit difficult to do them.
Yeah. I understand. I sympathize with you on that. Mm-hmm. I've been there, so I certainly understand. I actually have hiring managers who are breathing down others' throats because I can't respond to my emails. But it's just a work in progress. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, yeah, if you guys have another topic, and yeah, I think it's better if we limit the number of topics that we have on the recorded calls. That way you're only listening to a call just pertaining to that particular topic, and you're not having to sift through all of the conversations when you only need an answer to one particular thing, or you need to review just one thing. So I think it will make it easier.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you, Tish, again.
All right.
If you guys have another topic that you email me, and we'll sit up with Tish, and we'll just try to make the calls as short as possible and go over those topics one by one. And I'll work on uploading this video and send out the link for you guys.
Perfect.
All righty.
Hey,
Thank you. Have a great weekend, you guys.
Have a good weekend.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.